When the mortal realm's in need of destruction, you better call on the Lord of Seduction. End of the world, it's almost time, but I'm gonna do it right, the perfect crime. Oh, it was all over the place. And so I says to Boris Toddbringer, I says, it's the bleeding phone. I didn't know we had a landline. Who's this then?
It's the toss boss himself. It's your loyal servant.
Alright, did the stains come out then? I'll be at it again tonight if they did.
No, it's me, Sigvald the Magnificent. The man destroying the old world in your name. Don't tell me you forgot.
No, maybe, no, my good lad. Of course I remember. I was only joshing with ya, just playing some classic chaos japes on your shiny self. What's good in the hood?
I wanted to ask you why you set me an impossible task.
Impossible? Destroying the old world? What are you on about? I was destroying the old world every afternoon back in the good old days.
Well, clearly not, for it is, I assure you, still here. I think you probably overlooked the fact that the local wildlife just rebuilds everything that gets destroyed.
What? Really? They can do that? Curses upon their mortal meat. That explains quite a lot, you know. Alright, my scrappy chappy with the golden lappy. How about this? You don't have to destroy the old world. All you have to do is knock the do-good Emperor Franz boy off his darkness-defying throne. If you do that, I'm sure I could find it in my cockney heart to let you back into the perfume palace. Maybe even with a cheeky bit of fibre optic broadband waiting for ya.
Now that's more like it. I'll be back in the mere time it takes to say, how many bears could a Bear Grylls grill if a Bear Grylls could grill bears? Goodbye.
How many grills? No. How many bears would a grilled bear grill if a grilled bear grilled Bear Grylls? No. Oh, well, I guess he's never coming back. The campaign wasn't going so well, but my expectations had now been severely curtailed. All I needed to do was stick a certain Warhammer up a certain Emperor's certain orifice, and I'd have my ticket out of that non-hellhole. Nearest place with his trademark stamped all over it was Kemperbad. Emphasis on the word was there. After that, he really didn't have much at all, just the constituencies of Stirland, a region known for its fine wine, fantastic, its fine women, superb, and its fine thread from which its life was hanging. Delightful, delectable, borrowed all their stuff and kept it all, burned the rest of it, nothing left at all. And to make things even sweeter, the world's most wanted toolbox was right there, standing proud with an elite army of humanity, probably going on and on about how they were going to rid the world of evil and bring back their handlebar moustache while they're at it. My forces were damaged after many died trying to hide their loot on areas of their person that doctors agree cannot store a solid gold statue of an inflated pufferfish. Oh, the blood, oh, the paperwork. But despite that, I decided it probably was worth going in for a bit of gore and guts anyway. Why delay a ticket away from all these mortally challenged mouth breathers when it's so close? And in all honesty, the massed forces of man were a little embarrassing to behold. Everything looks weak in comparison to me, admittedly, but this was a rather surprising case of the underwhelming underwear drop. At least the enemy had the trees on their side. My hell cannon couldn't make it through the undergrowth to strike the target zone. Artillery! I'm talking about the artillery, you filthy, glorious viewers. So, alas, we could not slay the bald old man the enemy had placed as their champion on the front lines. The enemy artillery cunningly fired straight upwards, avoiding the branch blockade to rain exclamation-worthy great balls of fire right into my metallic minions. Told them to up the pace to reduce their exposure to the rain of cantankerous kidney stones, but another threat soon emerged. The enemy, quick to turn on their leafy allies, had summoned a flaming whirlwind in their very midst. Where have I heard that phrase before? Flaming whirlwind. It was my high school nickname. Nothing else can blow so hot. But anyway, my men were also falling prey to the antics of some local spiders, delaying their advance, and in a surprise twist, the thing that's hot and spins a lot singed a great deal of my men's arm hair. They failed to even notice, but you have to understand that for men of chaos, being on fire is just another Tuesday morning. Now the fighting got started. Nothing remarkable, just a load of guys encased in metal slapping the metal casings of the fellows in front of them, or in some cases the horses in front of them. The real highlight was the presence of Mr. Carlodorus Menmulcher Franzenstein, the king of bling with a horse that had wings. He was having a hard time dealing with my company of stick-wielding poke pushers, somehow avoiding death despite constant inward-outening blows, and even a quick slap across the behind from Sliverslash. He flew off into the night like it was time to remake E.T., while my cooked cav went in behind their army to remove their blasted blasters. The Emperor of the oldie but not a goldie world had seemingly failed in his attempts to escape death, and was once again challenged by aggressive pointy stick shaking and the licky limbs of the spawn close on his hooves and heels. More cav capers saw the enemy infantry similarly troubled, and really just like that, the epic last stand of humanity just drooped to a painfully inevitable conclusion. Just a bit of time for some blood sport with old Spawn Seeker, and I was joined by some demons of Khorne who showed up to partake in the general violence round of the contest. Carly Boy made his pitiful escape, leaving his goons to be disemboweled and used as puppets in a hilarious production of The Legend of Horny Corny Part 3, Tale of the Lost Carrot. He didn't last long on his own in the wilderness though. I'm sure his Pegasus was clever enough to throw him over a ravine filled with feral hamsters. Whatever happened, no one ever heard from him again, and his beloved empire was now just a single castle on the edge of the dark vampire realm. And as you might imagine, it quickly became nothing at all. But it wasn't over. The Empire was not truly destroyed until the second in command, the Golden Boy himself, was buried in a coffin made of silver with "This is what you wanted, right?" written on the inside. Kindly, he actually ran over to make sure I wouldn't have to trek around the world looking for him. And even more kindly, he had clearly fallen out with the water voles and lost all his men in the attempt to escape. He only had 80 guys with him, and I can take 80 guys any night of the week. He actually ran away when we drew up for battle, sacrificing those followers he still had to make his escape, but we kept on him and finally got him on his own for a little chat. We pickpocketed him while keeping him distracted with a Slaanesh nude calendar, and then, realizing that his precious gold had been stripped from him, he just died of shame. Just about the least glorious way for it all to end, but that was it, for him and I, you could argue. The human empire was gone, and a bit of the old world was destroyed at least, but elsewhere the Kislevites had conquered half my minions, and the squawks of the Dowie and Orcs were echoing from the south. Really, things were just trundling along as if I'd never done anything. Technically, it wasn't my problem anymore, but once I was there, ready to leave, I just... You didn't want to leave the job unfinished? Exactly. Everyone knew I had been sent to destroy the old world. If I returned without actually doing it, only able to say, well, at least I killed that one guy, I guess, my reputation as a scion of scandal and a patriarch of perfection would be more soiled than what remained of our attempts to make Nurgle wear trousers. But after everything that happened, it sounds like it was impossible to actually destroy the whole thing. A change of tact was needed. There were two main factors to consider. One, the rate of my destruction, and two, the rate of the mortals rebuilding. By considering these in careful balance, running all the equations, drawing the blueprints, and peer-reviewing the plan for global annihilation, I was sure there was a way. And I didn't get my PhD in end-time studies for nothing. We began with point number 1. To increase the rate of destruction, we needed another army of crazy folk cleaning up all the scraps. And who better to lead it than the Grand Commander of all Chaos Forces, a rather dour chap known as Archeon the Ever-Chosen. I didn't trust him at all to actually find people to be in his army, so I just gave him mine for now. Had to leave him to it since for some reason whenever I went near the guy, an enormous firestorm consumed the lands around us, killing all the troops. Bothersome, but finally an excuse for a little alone time with Spawn Seeker. At least it would have been if the damn boffin didn't come over to get that third wheel spiel going. Now, we couldn't actually afford 2 whole armies. Even with my new wife Archeon's income as a yoga instructor, we were losing money like it was Wall Street 1929. Luckily, there was some rather cheap labour available. Many people were so eager to get onto the destruction bandwagon that they would accept a few toenail clippings every Christmas as complete payment for their probably awful services. But I was willing to bet it would end up being better than nothing, so I started building up a whole army of drooling proles with sharpened poles. Once done, I returned to visit Archeon, who was using my army to besiege the local human fortress, definitely on the right track. I gave him the trash stack and took my men back into my loving embrace, with a welcome home party taking place inside the enemy fort, the theme being burning things down. By night's end, we had no more local humans to worry about, but the Averheimers who had once lived there actually had an army wandering about nearby. We just needed to be careful and steer clear of it. That's what I told Archeon anyway. But of course, things didn't go as planned. He was heading north with the Cretin companies to go re-destroy some of the stuff that was growing back, but on the way he was not only assassinated by a passing ghost, but taken by surprise by the vengeful humans, with only a sea of biologically active fungus with swords glued to it for defense. I'll leave you on a cliffhanger as for what happened there, and also next time we'll be getting to part 2 of my plan, where we stop the enemy from rebuilding. In many ways, everything up to now was just an introduction. The real story of the end of the old world starts here.